So did you guys know that until now, there is people who still describe narcissistic abuse as domestic violence? If you want to know what I'm talking about, go into those whatever family courts, whatever civil courts, or the man beat his wife and the wife did this, whatever, and you're going to realize that this whole thing is narcissist. There's a difference. There's a difference. Okay? It's not the same thing. The entire battle has always been about your energy. The entire battle. The entire warfare that you thought that you was fighting. Because the question will be why, when the moment you start to realize all this, understand what is narcissism and everything, you're going to want to know why. Did this happen? And why you? Of all people, why you? And why did that thing happen? And you are going to realize that the whole thing, it was about energy. Okay? So, without your energy, these people do not exist. Okay? The whole entire experience with narcissism, it was about energy. It wasn't personal. Never ever try to think this whole thing was personal. It was energy. Now, many people want to talk about it like domestic violence, as I've said. They say, it's a domestic violence, the man is abusive, and whatever is a abusive husband, abusive wife. No. The reason why people don't talk about it is because the ones that are supposed to be listening or solving those cases, they're already narcissists. So there's nothing to solve. So what is there to solve when you're already talking about a case where the person who is meant to solve it is the abuser? It's not possible, you know? Narcissism is very destructive, ladies and gentlemen. You have got to understand. Everything you can do to educate yourself, to teach your children in advance, help them, because nobody will tell them. Their schools will not teach them those things. Teach them the things they need to know. And they're not going to be a part of that abuse. Are you following? Joseph? It is all about energy. I'm 40 plus now. I found out about narcissism. I was around 40 years by the time when I was 40. That's when I discovered narcissism. And the life will never be the same. Because you're going to realize how broken of a person you've always been to attract this kind of individuals. How wounded of a person that you've always been for you to attract that kind of energy. That is how broken I was. And that is how they came in. Because the narcissists, they need a wound for them to come in. It's why you see them around wounded people. You see them sometimes in these car accidents. They are the ones cleaning the blood. Those kind of things, removing the wreckage and whatever. They are the ones who are doing those kind of jobs. Because that's where the energy is. That's where they feed. Is where they feed. Those are the things they want to see. Now, I'm not saying everybody who is in the response unit is a narcissist or whatever. But you may look around and you see very closely that A lot of those people who are coming, to break out the wreckage and whatever, most of them, they are narcs. Accident and emergency, they're also there. So they are coming in through the wounds. So they like to see somebody in agony, help me, this, and now they are going to come in as the lifesavers, So the reason why you see those people will create a problem, and while everybody is jumping up and down, what do we do? Maybe we try this, maybe we try that. They're going to create the solution. It's how it has always been with those people. They create the problem. As you're still jumping around trying to see what to do, they're going to have the solution. And they're going to come out as the heroes. Yeah, this is what was going on. I knew it was all this, no, they get the credits, all that stuff. But there was the ones behind the problem. So every time you're around a toxic person and you cannot stop to see those things happening, problems after problems, you have got to stop and take your time to analyze the situation. The person there may be the one responsible for that particular problem. So narcissistic abuse is people, they have always told, confuse themselves, gaslit themselves. Oh, the husband, yeah, yes, I know he's whatever. He has his own issues. Sometimes he's angry or he's mad. No, you're dealing with a psychopath. So it is some of those things that they will never tell you. Because when they tell you, you're going to protect yourself. You're going to defend yourself. You will be out before it even started. You will be already out. So they will not really tell you those things that you need to know, because it's all part of the game. The world is struggling. Families are broken. People are being broken. Children are separated from their parents. Family courts are running up and down, solving cases that shouldn't have happened. It's all what it is. The thing that shouldn't have happened. They are solving problems, and they're talking about domestic violence. They don't even know that the things they are trying to solve are narcissistic in nature. So it goes very deep, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm trying to say. This whole thing it goes very deep, Abuse is abuse. So you call a spade a spade. The more you try to, what do they call that thing? So the more you try to sugarcoat things, they have a disorder. So what about that disorder that people didn't know many years ago? The fact that they are now starting to wake up and ask the questions, you're telling them that they have a disorder. But back in the day, so many years ago, they was in school, you did not tell them there was people like that who have got those kind of disorders. Now they have been abused, broken and whatever. They want to know something. Now you're telling them that those people, they had a disorder. So that's how this whole thing is that's what is happening with this whole thing, So you find a lot of organizations, relief, that are working in relief NGOs that fully depend and rely on donors. Okay, donations. Oh, donate please, because we need to help the people in. There's a war. People in Palestine. There's a war this way. There's a war that way. So organizations are being set up for relief. Syria. You guys saw the way the whole country was bombarded to the ground by their own dictator. How many people died? And now what is left is ruins, bodies to bury, people to look for their loved ones. Some of them don't even know where their loved ones is. Because there was a psychopath in power who was ready to kill just to have that power, to stay in power. They would kill to stay in power. How many psychopaths are running nations? How many psychopaths do you see around the world that are running nations? Because now we understand what is this whole thing. Yeah? We used to call them dictators. Ah, that one is a dictator. This one is a dictator. But now we know there is something more to this whole whatever. It's not all about dictator and whatever. There is something more. Okay? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you know that the whole thing we've always been told about domestic violence, it wasn't domestic violence. It was narcissism all this time, this whole time. It was narcissistic abuse was dealing with. So let us know what you think about the video, guys. You guys know I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session. You may donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, catch you guys in my next one. Denzel signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.